Happy Friday. Today's topic is an interesting topic and I want to address it going full steam ahead. First off, let me tell you that age discrimination is illegal. It's against the law for any employer to look at someone's age and say, I'm not going to hire them. But as everybody knows, that there's always a perception in the back of one's mind when they're talking to somebody, whether it be their age, their race, who they are, whatever. So we as a community need to do what we can to try to eliminate cause for this type of a concern. First, let me tell you a secret. I got an email last week from a guy that said that he doesn't want to work with our company because we discriminate on basis of age. But then I called him up and I said, why would you say that? He says, because you're not responding to my resume. I said, interesting. 3 months ago, I placed a 72-year-old guy with an 85-year-old boss. And I've got a guy that's 63 flying out to a Fortune 100 company next week. When I look at your resume, the reason why I'm not calling you back is because of the resume. It has nothing to do with your age. This is a preconceived notion. A lot of older people feel like the easy way to say they're not being considered is to say, it's because I'm old. It actually a lot of times has nothing to do with it. In fact, I will tell you that the biggest challenge for older people is they don't understand what resumes and how they should be processed and given out and what types of information should be there. So a lot of times it takes coaching. But let me tell you a few fun facts. The way to avoid ageism is how you present your information. For instance, don't put you graduated high school in 1964. Don't put you graduated college in 1971. What you're doing is you're giving them the ability to assume, figure out, and then judge you based on what your perceived age is. It's not legal, but it happens. So a couple things as far as tips. Dates are only necessary when it comes to work history. Generally speaking, I don't usually require to put dates on degrees. I certainly don't list high school on a resume. Those are things that you could keep off your resume unless a company specifically asks for it. A lot of times companies will ask for it not to determine how old you are, but to figure out whether or not you got a degree early on in your career or got a degree post, the start of your career. The other thing to think about is when you are starting your work history, don't go beyond 1980. Now, a question came up the other day from someone said, well, I worked for the same company since 1975. Okay, I still wouldn't go back before 1980. So he said, well, what would you do? I said, that's a formatting issue. The way I would format it would be I would list the company name and then below it show all my job titles and years that I was in those job titles back until 1980. So there's a lot of ways that you can create a resume and really create a perception that will take down the wall of perception on age and focus more on experience. Now, I have seen some things that have been done that's not a good thing. For instance, not listing dates at all is not a good thing. When you take your work history dates off, people are assuming three things. One, you have a lot of lapse time in between each job. 2, you're a job hopper. Or 3, you're hiding your age. So I can tell you the answer to the age-old question of how do I get them from not thinking I'm too old is not to take dates off your resume when it comes to your work history. The other big issue that I've seen is people at the top of their resume in their summary where they put, I have 45 years of experience as a manufacturing manager. What are you doing? You're dating yourself. Oftentimes, what I tell candidates is if you have more than 20 years of experience, put you have 20 plus years of experience. But the second you start putting that you have 35, 40, 45 years, you are causing them to automatically, in their head, think about your age, even if it's not on purpose. The other thing I see is people that will cut off their work history after 10 years and then do like a abridged work history underneath it with no dates. Again, bad idea. When you do that, again, you're creating the perception and the idea in people's heads that you're older and you're trying to hide it. So the biggest way to solve the age-old question, again, back to age, how do I put together my work history of 40 years on a resume without them thinking that I'm old, is simple. You go back to 1980, you work your work history all the way through the present, and you don't list anything before that. What you did before 1980 probably isn't that relevant anyways. And the most important thing to remember is there should be clear succession. If you were a senior VP of operations in 1980, there's no way you can cut your work history off at 1980 because people are going to want to know, what the heck did you do before then? You need to start your work history on a resume as a supervisor, an hourly, associate, whatever, where it's perceived that that was the start of your career and you worked your way up. Now, I know that there are hiring managers out there that are thinking, Michael, what are you doing? You know, you're making this harder for us. It's not about harder. It shouldn't be hard at all. You cannot discriminate on age, period. How old somebody is doesn't matter. The 72-year-old that I placed several months back, he came to me and said, you're never going to place me. And I said, watch me, I will. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about is being upfront with your age. I noticed an increased trend of baby boomers who on their cover letters put, I'm 62, but I'm very young, and I can handle another 10 years of working. No company will talk to anyone that says up front, this is how old I am. Because you're setting that company up for a lawsuit. Do yourself a favor. I don't care if you're 100, I don't care if you're 50, I don't care if you're 18. Don't offer up your age ever. Don't talk about how young or old you are. Don't talk about how young or old you are. Don't talk about, that you're not a spring chicken. It shouldn't matter. The things that should matter today are what can you do for the company. And that's the only thing that should matter. Don't give them a reason to discriminate, even if they do. If you have any questions, you need any more information, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn or Facebook or michaelglinter.com. Have a great day.